सागरालिङ्गितां लक्ष्मीं जगज्जनककन्यकां स्थितां हिमनगस्यांगे पार्वतीमपरां भजे रत्नाकराधौतपतां हिमालयकिरीटिनीं ब्रह्मराजऋषिरत्नाढ्यां वन्दे भारतमातरम् तं देशिकेन्द्रं परमं पवित्रं विश्वस्य पालं मधुरं यतीन्द्रं हिताय नृणां नरमूर्तिमन्तं विवेकानन्दमहं नमामि. मदेश Bharatavarsa is known since times immemorial as a spiritual nation. It is a Swarga Bhumi. In the Ramayana, Rama very emphatically declares Janani Janmabhumischa Swargatati Gariyasi. This land of ours, this motherland is greater than heaven. That is what Sri Rama, Lord Rama tells in Ramayana. Our great rishis, they declared this land as a Dharma Bhumi, Karma Bhumi, Punya Bhumi, Moksha Bhumi. Swami Vivekananda, in his lectures from Colombo to Almora, he has repeatedly pointed out every soul that is wending its way Godwards, if it has to account for its karma, it must come down to Bharatavarsha. And Swami Vivekananda emphatically declared, we may worship 100,000 gods and goddesses, but the supreme goddess is Bharata Mata. Our great Vedic rishis proclaimed, A Sindhu Sindhu Paryeta Yasya Bharata Bhumika Pidrubhu Punyabhu Chaiva Savai Hindu Ritis Mrtaha. All those who adore and worship this holy land of Bharatavarsha as Punya Bhumi, Karma Bhumi and Moksha Bhumi, they are Hindus. The definition of the word Hindu, in later days, some historians wrote that because the Persians called Sindhu as Hindu and the people living in this land came to be known as Hindus. It is not correct. Sindhu Sindhu Paryeta Yasya Bharata Bhumika, the land stretching from Kanyakumari to Kashmir. Pidrubu Punyabhu Chaiva, all those who adore and worship this land as holy land, Punya Bhumi, Karma Bhumi, Moksha Bhumi, they are Hindus. That is the explanation given in the Bharsaspatya Samhita. Here in Vishnu Purana, it also declares, Uttaram yat samudrasya himadriyasya dakshinam varsham tad bharatam nama bharatiyata santati. The people occupying this land, Hindus, they are also known as Bharatiyas. So it is very categorical, clear. So Vivekananda declared, in his Colombo to Almora Peters, he says, for the next 100 years, let us worship only this God, Bharata Mata. She is the supreme goddess and she is to be adored and worshipped. Here, now, we are celebrating the Amritotsav of India's independence. Azadi Ka Amrita Mahotsav, 75th year of independence, we have been celebrating. Who brought independence to India? Of course, the great revolutionaries, patriots and freedom fighters, they did the political struggle. But who was the moving spirit behind India's spiritual movement, freedom movement? Bankim Chatterjee, whom Mahayogi Aurobindo called as the modern Rishi, he pondered how we became slaves to our foreigners because the day we forgot that this is a holy land, Punya Bhumi, Karma Bhumi, Moksha Bhumi, that day the fall of the nation started. Prithviraj Chauhan was the ruler, and Jayachandra, his own uncle, he invited Muhammad Ghori to attack India. Why? Because he failed to realize that this is a holy land. Before Prithviraj, there have been so many invasions. Shakas, Hunas, all these people invaded this land. At that time we had Shakaji, Vikramaditya and great warriors who fought for this land. Whoever came with an aggressive attitude into the land, they were bundled and thrown out. And those who came to this land for jnana, knowledge, wisdom, Greeks and many others who came before Alexander, the Greek scholars, even Socrates and Aristotle, they were inspired by Indian philosophy. And the Nalanda and Takshashila universities, they welcomed Arabs and Greeks into the university. They were welcomed here. They were provided knowledge because this is a land of knowledge and wisdom. Bharati is the goddess of wisdom and Bharata Mata is the land of wisdom. But those who came out with a sword, drawn out sword, they were thrown out. Even when Alexander came as an aggressor, Purushottam stopped him. You know, in the night when the war was in a very pitched battle, in the night, suddenly a young girl, she appeared in the tent of Purushottam. She introduced herself. First she said, today is Raksha Bandhan day, I want to tie the Raksha on your hand. Purushottam allowed her to tie the Raksha, and then he asked her, you don't seem to be an Indian, who are you, where from you have come? Then she said, I am a Persian, I am Rustana, the daughter of the emperor of Persia. When Alexander invaded Persia and defeated my father gave me in marriage to Alexander. So I am the wife of Alexander, who is now fighting with you. So Purushottam was amazed. And then he asked her, what do you want from me? She said, I want my Mangalya to be protected. At no cost you should kill Alexander in the battle. The next day, Purushottam at that time said, you have accepted me as your brother, and as a brother, I will protect your Mangalya. But I will not allow Alexander even to step 1 inch inside the Sindh. That is sure. We will see in the battle tomorrow. The next day when the battle was bad, there was 1-to-1 fight between Alexander and Purushottam. Purushottam was wielding a big spear, and Alexander was having sword. With the spear, Purushottam gave a hit, and Alexander's sword, it fell off his hand. And Purushottam was there with that spear. For 2-3 minutes he didn't move, and Alexander was unarmed. He was surprised. In one hit he could have finished Alexander. At that time, Purushottam said, look at my hand. This Rakhi is tied by your wife, Rustana, and she wanted me to protect your life. I have given her word, and therefore I appeal to you, go back the way you came, please go back. And Alexander saluted him, and Alexander withdrew. While going back, he died because of cold and other things. This is the history recorded by Greek historians. The classical history of Greece, it has recorded that Alexander could not defeat Purushottam, but because of the mercy of Purushottam, Alexander had his life. While returning, he had malaria and he got this and he died on the way somewhere in Persia. So that shows that our kings and emperors protected this land. And who are behind these kings and emperors? If you look into the history, you find all the greats and kings and emperors, they were inspired by great Mahatmas, right from the period of Janaka, Vishwamitra, Vasishta, Yajnavalkya. These were the guiding spirits behind all the kings and emperors. So Bankim thought, why we lost independence because we forgot the sanctity of this land. And therefore, he wrote a wonderful novel, Anandamath. In the Anandamath, which had inspired Swami Vivekananda also, in the Anandamath novel, he presented a group of sannyasins in ochre robe, taking up sword and fighting against the Mughals, Muslims and the British. That is the story of Anandamath. There, Bhavananda, a local ruler, he walks, Mahendra, a local ruler, walks with one sannyasi, Bhavananda, and Bhavananda sings, Sudalam, Subalam, Malayada, Sheetalam, Sasya, Shamalam, Madaram, Vande, Mataram, and he is singing. And then Mahendra asked Bhavananda, which mother you are worshipping? Kali, Lakshmi, Saraswati, all are great mothers. Then Bhavananda smiles and says, there is only one mother, that is Bharata Mata. And he says, Tumahi Dugha, Dashatraharana Darini, Kamala, Kamaladala Viharini, Vani Vidya Daini. She is Durga, she is Kali, she is Saraswati, and she is to be adored. He wrote Vande Mataram song and incorporated it in the Anandamath novel. It inspired leaders like Swami Vivekananda, Sister Nivedita, and Aurobindo Ghosh. Aurobindo Ghosh, in his Vande Mataram editorial, he wrote that Bharata Mata is not a geographical territory, she is three in one, Lakshmi, Saraswati, Kali, and she is to be adored and worshipped as Bhavani. And he gave the concept of Bhavani Mandir. We have to set up Mandir for Bharata Mata, it should be Bhavani Mandir, and there she is to be worshipped according to Tantric rites. That's what we are doing here. At the time of the independence movement, one great Subramanya Shiva, he wanted to set up Bharata Mata Mandir. He found a plot of land in Tamil Nadu, near Paparapatti, near Salem, and he brought Chittaranjan Das, Aurobindo's pleader, all the way from Calcutta and laid the foundation stone, but unfortunately the mandir didn't come up. After the independence, the Congress government came to power, but they declared themselves to be secular. Nehru declared that ours is a secular land. So we cannot say Bharata Mata is a Hindu goddess. If you say that Bharata Mata is a Hindu goddess, people will reject it. So we will not. And therefore they refused to set up this Bhavani Mandir. But then we decided that we will have this Bhavani Mandir. And in 1999, we purchased this land. According to Aurobindo's concept, we have set up this Bharata Mata Mandir here. And here, according to Tantric rites, every day we do Upasana Homa, Puja and everything. On Akshaya Tritiya day we have Abhisheka. For Makara Sankranti we will have special Abhisheka, Puja, etc. All important occasions we have this. Now Swami Vivekananda, who was inspired by Bankim Chandra Chatterjee, he spread this message that we have to adore and worship Bharata Mata. Many of the patriots and revolutionaries, Bhubendranath Datta, younger brother of Swami Vivekananda, he was a patriot and revolutionary. He has written a very wonderful book, Swami Vivekananda, the Prophet and Patriot. That is the title of the book. And in that book, Bhubendranath Datta says that the ideal of Swami Vivekananda was Bharata Mata and adoration and worship and freedom of the country. That was his ideal. What did he do? After his Chicago address, he went around Europe, he went to London. There, he met Sister Nivedita, Miss Margaret Noble. She was the daughter of an Irish priest. She came under the spell of Swami Vivekananda and she wanted to come to India. He said, okay, the time comes, I will call you. After Vivekananda returned to India, Nivedita was writing letter after letter asking him permission to come to India. What for? Vivekananda asked, and she said, look here, I am a teacher. Nivedita was a teacher, Margaret Noble was a teacher. I would like to come and teach in India. I would like to, Britishers say that we must give English education to all the people. Swamiji said, it is not time for you to come here. But then she realized her mistake. In the last letter, she wrote, I want to come and sit at the feet of Bharata Mata and learn. Then Swamiji said, now is the time, you can come. So Sister Nivedita came to India then only. After coming to India, he put her under the care of Sharada Devi. Sharada Devi was looking after Sister Nivedita, and she started the Nivedita school. What was the function of Nivedita school? Swamiji was very clear. Our women, they must be educated. They must be patriots. So he asked her to start a school for women. So she started a girls' school, Nivedita Girls' School. Today it is a very big institution in Calcutta. Nivedita school was started. And what was the prayer in the Nivedita school? Every morning they used to sing only Vande Mataram. Vande Mataram was the prayer for the school. And there she taught about great patriots, revolutionaries and great women like Rani Jhansi and others. That was the work. At that time, many of the revolutionaries, they found that revolution is not going to succeed because British have got arms and guns and we can't fight against them with our swords and pistols. So many of them, they joined Ramakrishna mission. They became sannyasis in the Ramakrishna order. They were all inspired by Sister Nivedita. She wrote the books Footfall of Indian History, that is the book of Nivedita. And another important book that she wrote, Aggressive Hinduism. Said Hindus must become aggressive. That is a very masterly work of Sister Nivedita. So these things inspired these revolutionaries. They became sadhus and sannyasis. Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose was very much inspired by Nivedita and Vivekananda. But then he found that he wanted to become a sannyasi of Ramakrishna order. But afterwards, he changed his mind. He said, putting a sannyasi robe and going about preaching, it is not going to solve the problem. We have to take up arms and fight the British. And therefore, he went out and he started the Azad Hind Fauj, India Freedom. And the ultimate blow for the British Empire, it was not given by Gandhi, Nehru or any Congress leaders. It was the strike of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. He captured Andaman Nicobar Islands and named it as Azad Shahid Island and Swaraj Island. And what next he did? The soldiers penetrated into Indian Army, Navy and Air Force. You know, till then Army, Navy and Air Force, they were controlled by the British. Suddenly one morning there was revolt, naval revolt. In the Navy they revolted. And another day Air Force people revolted. And there was a revolt in Indian Army also. They were all turning their guns against the British officers. Earl Ackley at that time in British Parliament, he declared, we cannot keep India under subjugation anymore because the Indian Army, Navy and Air Force, which we had filled up with all Indian soldiers, now they have turned their guns against us. We will give independence to India. And he moved the Freedom Bill and India got independence. So who was behind India's freedom? It was the message of the Rishis and the great change. Vivekananda, Aurobindo, Bankim, they brought. And Sister Nivedita was the moving spirit. She went throughout India. She started Vivekananda Samsthan, Pratistan everywhere. And in Nivedita's movement, the great revolutionaries, Bhuvendranath Gupta and Madhusudan Gupta, they have all written that Indian revolutionary movement was guided by Sister Nivedita. They had a committee consisting of Aurobindo, Nivedita and other patriot revolutionaries. They were guiding the India's revolutionary movement. That's what the revolutionaries, Manmadhanath Gupta has written about that. So, Vivekananda and Sister Nivedita, they are responsible for India's independence. Today we are celebrating 75th year of India's independence, And if anybody asks who brought freedom to India, it is invariably Vivekananda and Nivedita. Even Mahatma Gandhi was inspired by Nivedita. All the great patriots and nationalists, they were inspired by Vivekananda. Today, we have set up a big memorial for Swami Vivekananda at Kanyakumari. In 1960s, after my graduation, I had worked as a journalist in Indian Express and there was in government service for not 2 years. But I was inspired by Guruji Golwalkar, the Sarsanghchalak of RSS, whom I came in contact when I was a small boy. And then Swami Chinmayananda, they inspired me. I came under the spell and joined the Vishwa Hindu Parishad founded by Guruji and Chinmayananda. And then Eknath Ranade started the Vivekananda Rock Memorial project at Kanyakumari. At the time, he requested me. I resigned my job and I became a full-time worker of Vivekananda Kendra, editing the publications Yuva Bharati, a youth journal for youngsters, and Vivekananda Kendra Patrika. I was editing all those journals. So my whole life was diverted to the work of Vivekananda Kendra. Today, the Vivekananda Rock Memorial at Kanyakumari, it stands as a mighty inspiration to Hindus all over the country, not only all over the country, even from abroad, our Hindu brethren, they come, they go to the Kanyakumari seashore and they look at the great memorial. So Vivekananda is a moving spirit. And Sister Nivedita, you have all gone together and you have set up this Nivedita Pratistana. Perhaps you are aware of Rashtra Sevika Samiti. It is a parallel organization of Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. And the Rashtra Sevika Samiti has accepted Sister Nivedita as the guiding spirit, moving spirit. Whereas Swayamsevaks follow Vivekananda, the Sevikas, they follow Sister Nivedita. Even martial arts are taught there. Once Nivedita was invited for a college, for a university function. So she went there. They said, we are going to have sports here. What sports you are going to have? They said, we will have cricket. The British have taught us. Nivedita said, nonsense. Cricket is your Westerners' sports. You must have martial arts, fighting, gusti and chilambam. That's what I want you. And the next day they organized a beautiful program where martial arts were exhibited. So Nivedita wanted our girls, our mothers to be patriots, not only patriots, courageous, brave, capable of confronting any sort of atrocity that comes from outside. And Vivekananda's inspiration to create lions among men, young men. So the Vivekananda movement and the movement of Sister Nivedita, they are aimed at this great goal. I have come to know that some of you had a march all the way to Kanyakumari. You had the darshan of Vivekananda in the Vivekananda Rock Memorial. You should not stop with that. This message of Vivekananda and Nivedita should go to each and every nook and corner of the country. Today, we have got temples. 2 days back, you must have seen in the TVs for Makara Sankranti and for Pongal and all this. We have all the temples are full. Tirupati, Balaji temple, Madurai Meenakshi temple, and all temples. Our Hindus are going there as pilgrims. But how many of us in our houses we have got a Bharata Mata and we adore and worship? Unfortunately, that cult has not spread. In this Azadi Ka Amrita Mahotsav, I made an appeal to Narendra Modi. I said, you are celebrating Azadi Ka Mahotsav, that's all right. But what is needed today is, in every village we must have a Bharata Mata temple. And in every Hindu home the Hindus must have the picture of Bharata Mata in their shrine and they must worship. That's what Vivekananda wanted. That's what Nivedita wanted. What is the use of going all temples and doing arati and bhajanga? Of course, that develops bhakti. But bhakti towards whom? The ultimate reality is motherland, mother goddess. And that bhakti must be turned towards Bharata Mata, and we must make use of every opportunity for that. So this is the message that I want to give you today. Here we will be celebrating Vivekananda Jayanti and Republic Day on 26th. Every year for the last 35 years we have been holding oratorical contest for the city students. Usually we used to do it in Vivekananda Vidyalaya in Ramurti Nagar or in the new Indus Valley School. We used to have it. In 2020 we had it here in our Bharata Mata Mandir. 2021 and 2022 because of Corona we could not hold that competitions because it was not possible to gather children for the competition. This year, 26th of this month, we are going to have that oratorical contest here for city students. The topic is Prophet of Swami Vivekananda, Prophet of Patriotism. And that is for seniors, high school students. And then juniors and sub-juniors, we have got inspiring incidents from Swami Vivekananda and then life of Swami Vivekananda for children. We have got rolling shields in the upstairs. There in the hall you can see the rolling shields kept ready for the seniors, juniors and sub-juniors. And we will be giving presentation prize to all the participants. Apart from the first, second, third prize for the winners, we are giving prizes for all the participants. I request your help to organize this. We will be preparing the circular. In a day or two the circular will be ready. You can encourage students, whomsoever you know, please ask them to participate in the oratorical contest and the program, and you can help us. We need some 3-4 judges, 5 or 6 judges to judge, because the children will be speaking in Kannada and English, so you can help us by becoming judges and also by organizing that program here in last year 2020, as I told last time 2020, it was Anasuya who organized it. She did a wonderful work. Now last 2 years we couldn't have. This year I would like to request you all to help us in organizing this program. And this message of Sister Nivedita, now you have this Sister Nivedita Pratistana. Pratistana must have a very clear idea. In our library upstairs, we have got a separate section for Sister Nivedita, a separate section for Swami Vivekananda. A lot of books are there. You can encourage people to make use of those books, study and prepare and spread the message of Vivekananda and Nivedita everywhere. This is the appeal that I want to make to you. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words. Jai Sri Ram, Vande Mataram. Bolo Bharat Mata ki Jai.